Welcome to Trading Lounge and the US indices for Thursday, September the 30th. With the Russell here, while the market stays above the 2,200 here, then I'll treat it as being bullish. But if that becomes the resistance, then I'll treat it as being bearish. And if I look at this particular pattern through here, I mean, there's a good case for an impulse wave here and a good case for an impulse wave here. So that's kind of why I'm looking up. But even to trade long would need a setup in the right setup in there for that. But it's hard to see this market moving up. I mean, I can understand it with the I don't even know if the US banks are in this, are they? So because they're the only things I can see that be sort of pushing up sort of nowish, you know. The S&P 500 here, though, it's difficult to count this as an impulse wave to the upside because, you know, this move here, all of this is really in, I mean, yeah, it's hard to get 5 waves out of that. You could probably go 1 and 2 here, and 3 here, but this wave 4 overlaps that, and so it's really 3 waves here. It's almost like 3 waves here as well. So we could just be another A, B, and C here for this, and still in this sideways sort of correction here. This is the S&P 400, sorry. But yeah, I mean, it's not sort of showing. So, I mean, this looks impulsive here, so we can kind of work with that a little bit. So coming back to this here, yeah, I mean, will it push up without the others to a point? Let's just have a look at this little area in here quickly on the hourly chart. So we'd need a nice strong trade setup here. There's a good case for, as I just mentioned, looking at 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 to the upside here. And yeah, but here it looks a bit bearish as 1 and 2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so all of that is a 3rd wave, 4th wave, and 5th. So it's looking a bit impulsive to the downside. So we just have to give it some time while the other markets are correcting as well, because look, even if it went to this point here, the 61.8% would still need a bit of a trade setup on the 2250 area to get that. And like I said, I know the trading levels, so 100, 200 and 300. So I know if this becomes the resistance here, and it could take a bit of time because like this is the first move down, right? And then it goes back and retests it. So we can short it under here, and then we can short it under here. And that would be the setup, but it'll still need to break that and come down. You know, it may be smaller over here, but they can be, you know, humongous, because I always say they can spike down to 1.5, the halfway mark between, you know, 100 and 200. This is kind of normalish here for that kind of behavior, but we'd still need that over here to go short here. So there's nothing here to see just yet. We're not missing anything, put it that way. Over to the NASDAQ. So as I mentioned yesterday, we've come back to this wave 3 to this point, and wave 4 here. Now, look, it's probably a wave 4 degrees smaller, right? But it doesn't matter at this stage. We know that we're in a wave 4. We know that it's corrective because it's in 3 waves. We're not in a bearish market. Yeah, we will be making new highs at some point. So we're in one wave 4 or another, and of course I need to resolve that. But it's not an outstanding issue at this stage. I mean, the other point here too is that when we entered into this wave 4, I mentioned that it could be easy or it could be tricky. If the first move down came in 5 waves, then it would make it easy. It would make it 5 waves down for the A wave, and then a B wave in 3, and then 5 down for the C wave. But we don't have that. We have 3 waves. So that means that the B to the C here can also be in 3 waves as well. So and it could even still turn into a large triangle as well. So there's a lot of things that still can occur here. So we just really need to take it step by step. And the idea is when you're in a wave 4 is not to lose money. And as I mentioned before this started, just halve your position size. That's something that's a little bit of discipline that you can do, you know, unless you're an intraday trader and you don't hold, you know, into the next day. But if you're holding into the next day, then you should be using smaller position sizes, because you make the money in the third wave and you give it back in the fourth wave. That's the normal sort of scenario. So you got to break that. You got to kind of it's like meditation, isn't it? You got to kind of somehow tell yourself the truth and somehow become conscious of what you're doing, and see yourself, you know, as an actor as a trader, so to speak. Anyway, look, the main point here is that from this little move down here that we've been tracking, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 waves there. So after 5 waves, we get a correction, okay, and then we go down again. Now the problem is that this 5th wave finished? That's what I'm kind of concerned with. But if it's not finished, the situation would be that we'll have this down as 1 and 2 here, and then 3, 4, and 5 down here, and then we have the ABC pattern here, or we go straight up here and we have our little ABC pattern to the 50-60%, wherever that is, and then we go down again from that point. So let's go in and sort of check on that, shall we? So from this B wave here, you know, we've been counting down as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So we have made a new low here, and extensions in wave 3. So wave 1 and wave 5 can be sort of roughly the same. Will it breach down here further and have this wave 5 sitting here? I just don't know. Yeah, I mean, we're still within group 2, you know, because we normally look, when we're working with a large number here, we look at group 1 above and group 2 below. And while it's in that swing range, it's going to be choppy. If that becomes the support, well, then we trade long. If this becomes the resistance, well, then we trade short. So it's still in that, it's still in that range there, so to speak. So yeah, we have 5 waves. So let's just drill in a little bit closer. I'll have to go to the tick chart to look at all of this. So yeah, so I don't have a lot of answers today. It's just edging our way through this without too much damage, really. So so we've got this nice 1 and 2 here, and well, we'll call all that the 3rd wave here, the 4th wave and the 5th wave that we've just been talking about. And my thing was that, well, do we look at this 4th wave here as the 5th wave of A and finished at that point, or do we look at that down as 1 and 2 here and then going down for 3, 4, 5? So what I could say is that if that low is breached, we're in group 2. If the 72 here, the 14,720, if that becomes the retested resistance, then you can short at that point. So the arrival, the reaction which we're having now, would still need the first low below the level, and this can come back up, and it might come back up above the level as well. But the point being is that it's all about that reference point low there. So a position here and a position under here you could go for, but that's only for the intraday traders, because it would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So the bounce would come off the 500 here. That would be where that would be at that point. So we could just drag that over there. We don't need that. We can copy that, put that there, get rid of that. So otherwise, if that's not the case, and let's just say that we move up here, let's just pretend for a moment, and we look at that 5 wave move, technically we could come all the way back up to this point for this B wave in 3 waves. So I don't know what we're going to get first in that instance, So that's kind of it in a nutshell. That's as simple as I can get it. I mean, I've got this wave 2 sitting here, but that could just be around the other way as well, We could have this as wave 1 up here, or wave A rather. We'll put wave... I don't probably want to go to the next degree higher, really. So we can just grab this little dude here. So that will be okay, just put him there, So just to let you know that, yeah, how that sort of plays out. So the 72 would have to become the resistance before the day traders started, sharking around. Okay, so that's that. The S&P, I don't know if the S&P's actually made a low below this low here just yet, but we'll just check. Okay, so the same thing here as well. I mean, well, I've reverted back on, as I mentioned, I've been flip-flopping around a little bit, I think. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. I don't need to talk about my issues in public unless it's funny or there's a lesson. So, yeah. Once again, you could probably count that as 5 waves, but you're pushing it. It's easier to count it in 3 waves. So, yeah, I mean, the A wave here, and then an A and a B and a C. Do we go that way, or do we put the B wave over here and we just go straight down deeper into this move? These are the things that we need to sort of, get a grip on, and we can only do it really to understand it is really, we can only do it on the sort of the intraday basis and kind of understand both counts and at what point would one be validated or invalidated, and then make a move from that point. So there are parts within a wave 4 that we can trade. It's just that we have to pick and choose carefully and make sure that, because the swings are quite big here, they do a lot of damage. It's not like buying a little pullback in a trend or something. So anyway, enough waffling. Let's cruise in, and so this is what I was sort of thinking a little bit. This move down through here, I think we've only got 3 waves down so far. Don't have 5 waves down, so it's a bit of a different count. But we still go back for wave C here. Will it reach the old high? I don't know, but it's a good starting point, and then down at that point, or do we just continue to drop from here, so to speak? So this is what we need to understand as well here. So let's just go in and work that for a moment or two. So as I mentioned on the NASDAQ's made a low below here, so we could count it down as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for that. So slightly different. And in this case here, we can count it as 5 waves up for the A wave here, the B wave here, and do we go up for the C? Are we going to be counting 5 waves up for the C wave? That's what I want to sort of, we've got to figure out in a way, But the other, the annoying thing here too is that, let's just say that this is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and we come down for wave 5 here. It's only going to be a short wave anyway because of the length of wave 1 here, or wave A, whatever you want to call it. So, and then we'd come back as an ABC correction at that point. So, yeah, even if we came down here, down to the point, it would only get an ABC back up and down again as well. So we'll be able to trade that. We just need to know where we are. So we're just in a bit of a rock and a hard place here at the moment. 1 hour, let's go to 100 ticks. Yeah, so from the top here, we've got that, definitely got 3 waves down through that point. I mean, maybe you could get that in 3 waves as an A wave, a B wave, and some sort of 1 and 2 to here, and 3 and 4 and 5. So, and maybe, maybe this B wave can sit here for that as well. So these are the things that we just need to sort of figure out. And we're going over this yesterday as well. So we were looking down at wave 1 and 2 and 3, and can this be 4 here? And then we go down for 5, but we just haven't made a move lower than this so far. So do we need to treat it as an A and a B and a C for the B wave here? So there's all these sorts of things that we need to get our heads around a bit. Is it going to let me do that? So this pattern here, it appears to be corrective. It can make a new high. If it takes that, see this little move here would be an A and a B and a C wave here. So as long as that low stays in place, then we've got a chance to go higher here. If we're going to go higher here, then it'll be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 up to this 50-60% level at minimum here, because I don't think we're going into the C wave here based on what I can see here, because I don't have a nice impulse wave here. So I could look at this here as an A wave here, an ABC for the B wave here, then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So coming back up into that space would be okay as well. So we'll have to just pick this up tomorrow, I guess. And the other thing too is, like with the bullish weekly cycle that we normally use in a bullish market, we normally look for Thursday to be the bear day, let's just say corrective day. So if we see the next session, Thursday, giving us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here to the 61.8% in this area here, right? I'll clean that up later, but yeah, so it may just come up into this space here, and then Friday and Monday be the bearish day. I mean, the other little thing too is that I'm forgetting the name of it, Evergrande. That scenario, their mortgage payment or their payment is on October the 3rd, the next one. So that needs, if that's not paid, then obviously that's going to put a bit of pressure on the situation as well. But I mean, the media's been hyping it to the max, really, hasn't it? Xi Jinping a year ago made a policy that those property companies could not borrow, leverage themselves out to a certain point, and they had 1 year to rein themselves in and to get things under control. And a lot of them haven't. Some of them have dropped, other ones have dropped, 80%, 90%. So Xi Jinping wanted the property prices to be pushed down, and that's what's been happening, over the last year. They have been being pushed down. So he's in full control of it, and he's not going to let the whole kit and caboodle go bang and boom, because it's not going to do him any good. He's just waving his magic wand around the place to get things back in order, because people need to live in houses and not speculate on them. That's his sort of thing. And also besides that as well is that, that company split into two parts, and, the holding company where, Vanguard, UBS, BlackRock, HSBC, all of those guys, well, they're all sitting in a holding company. It's interesting at the moment that they're trying to buy more shares in that situation. But as far as I can see is, Xi Jinping would just basically not give a hoot about those people. He would care about the 70-odd thousand people that are waiting for their homes to be built. But he'll quite happily let that whole thing go bankrupt anyway. Evergrande, whatever, go bankrupt, and then he will just distribute those contracts for building those other houses to other companies that haven't that have got more control over their balance sheet. So it doesn't matter if they go bankrupt, and besides, it's not $300 billion anyway when you break it down. I was watching another video that a gentleman done some homework, and it's only something like 86 billion, and some of that is all spread around as well. So it's not as big as the media make it out to be as such. So yes, this correction that we're having at the moment is probably that, based all around that issue. But we do see this as a wave 4, and it will finish, and it doesn't matter if that company goes bankrupt. It's not as big as they think it is, and Xi Jinping has definitely got control over it, and I don't think he would care if they went bankrupt, because they'd been told a year ago what was going to happen, and they haven't done anything about it. So he was likely just to push them out and distribute all those assets to the next company in line, you know. So yeah, this is just a wave 4, and at one point or another, with all of this, it's going to complete, and that's going to be the end of it. So this is, you know, the Monday would be the important thing, because if they haven't paid that bill, then, you know, this wave 4's not over yet. So there's still a lot of emotion to go with all of that, with that situation, and yeah, but we know that it's not the end of the world, and because this is corrective here, if that company goes bankrupt, we know that it's not going to matter. It's such a small thing, you know. I mean, Xi Jinping has wiped out more money on all the big tech companies, you know, much more, you know, like poor Jack Ma's lost, you know, 400 billion, and he's donated, you know, 15 billion to the CCP after they locked him up for a month, and Tencent, they're sort of up around the $500 million mark as well. So those companies have had much bigger losses than Evergrande, and it's not as big as issue as people are making it out. This correction here is probably a reflection of that to some point, but we know that it's corrective and will make new highs. So things will just chug along for a while longer. Alrighty, cheers.